Hey friends, hello. I am really excited to be with you and talk all about fertility trackers. Okay, so let's jump in. Let's dive into talking about the different types of trackers. And there's a lot of confusion about which fertility tracker is the best. There's a lot of competitors. There's a lot of people saying that they do something that they can't do. So we are just going to do a tell-all kind of session. If you are joining me live on Facebook, you can actually chat and let me know what questions you have as they come up. So here we go. The first thing is a tracker versus some of the more functional methods like LH strips, for example, are doing very different things. LH strips are going to test for an LH surge, which is going to usually predict ovulation within a 12 to 24 hour window. So if you get an LH surge, then potentially you're going to have ovulation coming up around the corner. In the case of something like that, there are lots of different companies to choose from. I personally don't have a preference of fertility trackers because, not a preference of fertility trackers, a preference of LH strips because LH surges is an LH surge is an LH surge. Yes, there are some that are more accurate, some that are less accurate. In general, they're all about the same. But if we take the idea of LH strips or some sort of manual strip and up level it, then we get our next level of trackers, which are things that are in the category of Mira, Uva. There's a few different companies that have strips that you're peeing on, but they're not only measuring LH, they're not only looking for an LH surge, they're actually measuring other hormones. So UVA, for example, is LH and progesterone. So what it's doing is measuring the LH, but LH doesn't confirm ovulation, only progesterone can confirm ovulation. So you have the LH surge and then a progesterone rise, and that's actually showing like, yes, you did ovulate. And depending on where the progesterone levels are, we can really say, was it a great quality egg or not so great quality egg? So UVA is really lovely for that. Mira, on the other hand, does LH, estradiol, and progesterone. Their system is very interesting because at least when I had researched this, and this is a while ago that they wanted me to be part of the company, so I looked into it, and what I found was their LH and estradiol levels are actually based on kind of a metabolite hormone that is not very accurate. So I'm not opposed to Mira. I think Mira can be a great tool, but I think that it's not as accurate. It's not as a lot of women have wanted to send me Mira data as a substitute for blood test results, and that is not equivalent. So yes, so Mira is a good tool if you want to use something like that. I think having LH, estradiol, and progesterone can be extremely helpful because now you have LH and estradiol, which actually estradiol will surge first. So as your ovaries develop more follicles, those follicles are going to put out an estrogen, and that estrogen goes back to the brain and tells the brain, hey, we have enough follicles growing, you can stop the signal of follicle stimulating hormone and shift to luteinizing hormone. So that's estradiol is actually the preliminary signal that is going to cause the LH to surge. So if you're not seeing the estrogen building, there's a problem. Or if you're seeing it build too quickly or something like that, that actually is going to show where is the biggest issue, and can we isolate it to which hormone is not potentially doing its job. So that is the level of like strips, some sort of like tangible data that you can collect. Outside of that, there are a lot of different trackers, and that's where we get into the bulk of what we want to talk about today, which is fertility trackers, which is a very general term. A lot of trackers are essentially not doing collection or evaluation of data. So instead of actually getting some sort of tangible reflection of what's happening in the body, they are giving information based on when you're menstruating and how often you're menstruating, that is suggesting through an algorithm when you will ovulate. And these are the trackers that I think really take fertility off course. There is a group of trackers that are essentially just all it's requiring you to do is enter your date of menstruation or the start of your menses, and like maybe you input how many days your menstrual cycle was, but that's it. It's really not expecting a lot from you to give you your ovulation window. And that is the problem, because an ovulation window is usually 5 to 7 days. If it's not based on anything tangible, it's not based on any information that is being collected outside of when you're menstruating, it is not an accurate way to predict ovulation for fertility. They can be super helpful for you to have a general sense of when am I ovulating so that I don't get pregnant. But if you are actively trying to conceive, this can actually take you way off course, because now you have a 5 to 7 day window. They're often not even very accurate windows, so it's a little bit unhelpful.